each year this award goes out to salute a lifetime of achievement. And this year the prestigious award goes to Gary Grunau. When it comes to having an impact on the city of Milwaukee, Gary has few peers. His fingerprints are all over this town. He has played a major role in basically every prominent development and civic project in downtown Milwaukee over the past 35 years. Imagine a downtown Milwaukee without the Hyatt Regency Hotel, or the Schlitz Office Park Complex, or the Manpower Group headquarters, or the Riverwalk, or the Wisconsin Center District, or the Potawatomi Bingo Casino, or the Medical College of Wisconsin's Research Institute and Biomedical Research Center. The impact of this man on Milwaukee cannot be overstated. I was at an event a couple weeks ago talking to a commercial realtor when Gary walked into the room at this reception, and the guy stopped speaking for a minute, and his eyes got real big, and he turned to me and said, "Uh-oh, here comes the big dog." And so he is. He gets things done. As a special touch today, to officially introduce Gary today, we were lucky enough to bring last year's recipient of this award, Michael Cudahy, back with us to do the presentation. Mike, I give you the honors of presenting our new Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Welcome back, Mike.
I don't know how I got roped into this thing. If you look at your magazine, on page 30, you'll see the guy I'm about to introduce, and he looks like a pretty nice guy, right? Now turn to page 19, where there's a close-up, and he'll scare the hell out of you. No kidding, this guy that I'm about to introduce is an old pal of mine. He's done a lot for Milwaukee, and I don't know if you all realize how much he's done. How about the most important thing I'm thinking about is the hotel that he sports right on, what is it, Wisconsin? No, it's on Plankington. No, where is it? I can't remember where it is. Anyway, the Hyatt Hotel would not be there if it was not for this guy. How about Riverwalk? Tremendous thing. He and the former mayor, John Norquist, managed to get along long enough to get the job done, and I think that's fantastic. Now then, we've got Discovery World, and this guy was right there behind that whole construction of Discovery World, in spite of the fact that we managed to make it stay afloat, sticking way out on the lake. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce the great, the wonderful. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Gary Grunau.
Thank you to Michael. I've had the opportunity to celebrate his last maybe 15 happy birthdays together, which happens on St. Patrick's Day, could you guess? And this last year we celebrated number 90, and it was a spectacular event, and we're all looking forward to your 100th, Michael. You are a remarkable person. You've been a big figure in my life and a big figure in the city also. I'm very glad to be here today. I think it's always nicer to get one of these awards when you're alive, and I especially appreciate that part of it. I'd like to thank the BizTimes also, Dan Meyer, the publisher, Steve Jagler, and also Andrew Weiland, who does a great job on our beat, which is real estate and development. A great young man and a reporter that's very good. I'm joined here today by my family, who supported me in my career in business and in the community, and I thank them. I was the oldest of 3 children and the only boy. That was probably the first example of leadership, dealing with 2 younger sisters. I've been blessed with 11 grandchildren. Love them all. They're all, 8 of them are here, and other ones in different parts of the country. I'd like to thank my wife, Joanne, who, as I say, I like to look forward to enjoying the last quarter of my life with. Her life work and organ donation as the state chair of Donate Life Wisconsin, and her service on the board of the National Donate Life America is inspiring and will hopefully lead to a better life for many people. Lastly, I'd like to thank my associates and partners at my various companies that I was the honor to work with, the Grunau Company, Grunau Project Development, Schlitz Park, and my various partners, the Sampson family there, the various consultants we worked with. My good friend Gary Zimmerman, the architect, is here today, and of course my counselor is here today, Bruce Block, who is also our favorite nuptial officiant. He married Joanne and I. At this time, though, I'd like to tell you, I could probably tell you a story of my life and all the things we did and the successes that we've had in business and the buildings, but that'd be kind of sleep time and probably redundant. Back in 1983, as one of my outside type jobs, which I've had a lot, I became a trustee of Alverno College and came under the influence of Sister Joelle Reed, the longtime president. She has had a tremendous impact on my life, as she has on many others. And one of her main thoughts was, use your time wisely when you have an audience. Don't tell stories, try to affect the audience. I'm going to try to do that today. I'm an urbanist. I live downtown. I've done a lot of things in the downtown area. Through Michael and myself and some of the things he's worked on, we'll talk about in a minute, we've been able to do some neat things for the city and for the region, because the city is the heart of the region. I'm struck today by how many of the companies who are up here are out in the suburbs, Waukesha, Ozaki, et cetera, et cetera. Milwaukee's the heart of this region, and I think too often some of our politicians in Milwaukee throw water on the suburbs, and that's baloney, because we're all one region and we've got to learn how to work together. And I hope that we can get by some of those things, because we need the suburbs and the suburbs need us. And in particular, when I talk about the suburbs today, talk about the city, I'd like to talk about some of the assets we have and some of the infrastructure and some of the things that have happened in the past and what we look forward to happen in the future. If there's one attribute I share with my good friend Mike Cudahy, it's never ever to be satisfied with the status quo and to never ever quit. Get the job done and always try to make it better than it was when you started. That has led to our share of successes, Michael. But with my makeup and how I feel about it, we're all satisfied with our successes, but I fret more about the failures than I enjoy the successes, because they're lost opportunities. And I asked myself, after listening to the speaker today, what is the DNA of failure? So I want to look back first at some of the things that we lost on that some of us in the room, I think, were involved in. Some of us tried to get Miller Park built downtown. It's a great place, but think of the effect it would have had on our downtown area, like it has in the majority of the cities that have built stadiums around the United States. Economic development, everything else, excitement. Failure. The loss of $880 million in funding that would have connected Milwaukee to a high-speed train system between Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, Minneapolis. Right now, Detroit's getting connected to Chicago, Chicago to St. Louis. We talk about the corridor of Milwaukee, Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, up to Minneapolis as the education or the innovation corridor. It would have been great to have that high-speed system paid by somebody else. It was lost. On a lesser note, I advocated for a long time taking down the 794 spur as you go over to the Hone Bridge, connecting downtown and to the Third Ward. Finally, now that it's under construction in another way, the Journal Sentinel wrote an editorial about it 3 weeks ago. It said, gosh, it's a lost opportunity. Hey, where you been? Michael solved a lot of that, but what he's done with the lakefront situation by changing the highway approaches and opening up land, and also by taking the Lincoln Memorial Drive into the 3rd Ward. So there's a linkage there. All these are opportunities lost that'll never come back. The common theme was lack of leadership in the public and in the private sector. Let's talk about the public sector first. It's a matter of fact that having the public sector lead the way is just not the Milwaukee way. Our government started out as a socialist type of a government where the government stayed out of business and business stayed out of the government. This hasn't changed. That, coupled with certain talk show hosts that seem to beat up on anybody that comes out with an opinion, has caused our political leaders to maintain a situation as status quo. They do not want to make a violent or a radical move or an encouraging move in any direction. They'll encourage the private sector to take the leadership. Well, what happened to the private sector on these past opportunities? Either they weren't paying attention, or it didn't come together fast enough, or the associations in town did not take a leadership position, and several of those things got caught up in election, if you remember, and as a result, the private sector waited for the government to take the lead, and nobody took the lead. And as a result, we have apathy and a gridlock situation. But that's over. That's the past. Certain projects like the Park East, which is a very safe project, non-controversial, we had study group after study group looking at, and look what happened. The economy solved it. No study group is going to solve something like that. It has to be solved by the economy. People are moving in there. It's prospering now, retail, housing. The economy is going to handle certain of those things. The projects that we need to invigorate people in and to lead throughout the region are the ones that could cause catalytic events to happen. The ones, if not caused to happen, will disappear. The ones that only come along once in a while. When there is a catalytic event out there, you've got to seize the opportunity, and we've got to make it happen. At this point in my life, of course, with the last quarter of it coming up, as I look at my community involvement, these are the type of events that I want to continue to work on and hopefully help to get done. There are 4 of them opportunities right now that are going to be resolved in the next 6 months to 12 months that could really help our city move ahead, really help. And if the city moves ahead, the region moves ahead. The easiest one is a bike sharing program. Look at Chicago. Bikes all over the place. Madison, bikes all over the place. Minneapolis, you go to Europe, bikes all over the place. Under the leadership of Kevin Hardiman and Julie Kaufman, rather than coming out with 20 stations and 200 bikes that we've talked about so often, they're now planning to come out with 100 stations and 1,000 bikes all over the city and the suburbs to let people, students, and also the residents and tourists travel around very easily. You're going to read more about this in the next 60 days. Get on board. This is a very important thing that changes the viewpoint of people of the city and also the transportation systems. The second situation is, let's break the deadlock on transportation. It's went way too long. In 1991, 23 years ago, Milwaukee we were awarded $289 million in the state of Wisconsin to build a transit system. Can you imagine what that would have built in 1991? 22 years later, we've got $65 million of it left. Most of it has been frittered away, spent on highways, bridges, taking down the Park East, which is a good thing, believe me, and things like that. But now, with $65 million laying there, we're hung up on building a starter system downtown, referred to as the streetcar by people. Every major city that we compete with has a transportation system that works, and a modern one. 85% of our residents and polls want it, but it's stuck. It's stuck, because there's a difference in who's going to pay for what. The number has now come down from 50-some million to $20 million to get it going. I think that a lot of people in the room know what might happen here. I think by changing the route of the streetcar, changing where it's going slightly, changing the street routes, maybe getting it down to the lakefront, we could break this logjam. And I call on the city, and I call on Wisconsin Energy, and Gail Klopp and I talk about it all the time, and he's very eager to try to figure it out. Unfortunately, he's got some regulations that the Public Service Commission has put on him. Again, Madison trying to socially engineer what's happening in the city of Milwaukee, but we've got to break that logjam and get it done. If we can get that built, there's an extension of the system that will come up to UWM, out to the research park, et cetera, eventually, and do what we were going to do 22 years ago when we started on that exercise. It's got to happen now or it'll never happen. It's a lost opportunity. The third thing, we have a third chance. We don't want to strike on this one to solve the Grand Avenue. Some of us were part of the original construction. Some of us did it 10, 12 years ago. It's up for auction again. The Bank of America has put it up for auction. We always worry about what to do with the west side of Milwaukee on Wisconsin Avenue. It's like the Park East. The catalytic event is to figure out what to do with the Grand Avenue, that piece of property. And if we do that, reposition it in the marketplace, educational, residential, some retail, you'll find that that whole area will flourish. How can you not flourish when you're between Marquette University, you've got MATC alongside of you, you've got MSOE downtown? It's going to grow, but we need to solve the Grand Avenue. Steve Chernoff is leading that fight on a part of the Milwaukee Development Corporation, and we hope to be able to get that done, but it's things we're going to need support on over the next 3 to 4 months. Get it, reposition, and let it become an asset again. The fourth thing, which is the major thing, and something that concerns probably the whole region more than even the other three, is the arena and the public facilities study. I'm chair of the Spirit of Milwaukee, and in that role we gave some money to the Public Policy Forum to do a study as to what our assets mean and what it would cost to fix them. We all read about the bucks and the need for a new arena. I personally think that's going to happen, and anybody that saw the owner's daughter on TV last night knows that they got the younger vote from A to Z, I'll tell you that. Mallory is a beautiful young lady, and I think we have wonderful owners about to appear in the city on the bucks. I think people realize that that's going to happen. But I ask that we just don't handle that by itself, that we handle also the convention center, which is needed. We're falling backwards. And we also handle the public facilities that are part of the county properties, such as the zoo needs funds, the parks need funds, the Milwaukee Public Museum needs funds, the Marcus Center, the Art Museum. Wrap it all together. The Public Policy Forum shows that much like they did in Oklahoma City, where they did a kind of a list of assets and a time frame to pay for it, that in 8 years, with a half-cent sales tax in the county alone, we can raise enough money to take care of all those problems and end up with a new arena, an expanded convention center, a world-class zoo, park system, museum, and everything else. The county does not have money to invest in those facilities right now. It has to be raised someplace else. I also, though, reach out to the surrounding counties, and while we're not talking about it, I think you're going to see a little bit more about how they could help us. I think too often the politicians in Milwaukee have gone to the suburbs or to the surrounding counties and said, send us your money. Well, you have needs in those counties also. So why don't you send us a little bit of money and we'll send some money back to help your parks and to help your entertainment facilities. Again, it's got to be an inter-region, throughout the region, cooperation basis. And we intend to be working very hard on that in the future. So, those are the assets that I think that I'd like to ask you today as kind of a charge to help us in the next year. They're county-based, city-based, but they're regional in order, and they help all of us. In the next 12 months, they're all going to be resolved. I ask you not to let us make the same type of mistakes we did in the past. We've got to take charge of our own future. The private sector, reminds you, leads. The public sector follows. And let's get these done so in a year we can sit down and come up with a new list. I thank you very much for the award, and let's go get them. Thank you.